Getting more popular, or is it just getting more exposure because the punches are being caught on tape? Now, some credit the Jackass movies with starting the whole knockout game. Others say it really exploded this fall with the release of Grand Theft Auto 5. But listen to what the Associated Press wrote about this, saying, quote, "The game is called Knockout. The object is to knock someone unconscious with one punch. Until this week, it was apparently something youths on the street only whispered about. Except that wasn't written this week, Megyn. That was written back in 1992. It's been going on for quite some time."
Wow. All right, Trace, thank you. Join me now with more. Harry Houck. He's a retired NYPD detective and president of Houck Consulting. Detective, good to see you here.
Megyn, how are you?
I'm good. So now you caused a little bit of a kerfuffle today because you said that while not every black kid is doing this, the way to avoid these attacks is to cross the street and get away from them if you see a group of black youths.
Right, that's not exactly what I said.
Okay, what'd you say? Because it's picking up some controversy.
Right, I know. What I said is I am asking people what they are doing in the event they come across black youths on the street. And a lot of them are telling me that they're just crossing the street.
Mm-hmm. And what do you make of that? I mean, this is one of those situations where, according to the stats, it does look like the majority of the attackers tend to be black youths.
Right.
And yet, you know, there's a resistance to racially profiling entire groups of people.
Right. Exactly. Listen, this is a personal decision you have to make as a person walking down the street. If you see people or someone that make you feel uncomfortable, cross the street. Mm-hmm. All right. This attack here is going on in 10 different states. All right, we have at least 20 attacks that we know of. Most of the perpetrators are black, and most of the victims are white. Mm-hmm. And this is also called polar bearing. Also, all right, the polar bearer is white, and the victims are white in this attack. Is it a trend? Yeah, it's a trend. How big a trend? I don't know. I don't know what the number is to make this a big trend or small trend.
There seems to be some resistance to, you know, saying something like that because now you've got innocent groups of black young men on the street who are going to get avoided, you know, by white people who are channeling Detective Houck, right? And that leads to an unfair circumstance for that group.
Right. Well, it's definitely an unfair circumstance for people that aren't doing this. All right? I mean, we'd be saying the same thing here if it was a group of white youths going around attacking blacks. All right? And can you imagine if that was going on? This would be an even bigger story than it is now.
Mm-hmm. And then on the other hand, you've got somebody who may be walking down the street and sees, you know, a group, potentially a group that is meaning to harm them, mm-hmm. and now they have to worry about whether they're going to offend said group and whether they need to worry about being, you know, politically correct, and maybe they don't cross and then they walk into trouble.
Kelly, that happens all the time. It happened to me as a detective. I had people who were victims of crimes. They said they saw something, they thought something was strange about it, but they said to themselves, no, you know, I'm not going to be prejudiced, I'm just going to go ahead and do what I'm going to do. And they became a victim of a crime. Mm-hmm. All right, I've seen it happen many, many times. All right, we all have an internal clock inside us, yeah. An alarm inside us that tells us danger, danger. All right, it doesn't matter what color the person's skin is. If you feel danger, walk away.
Gavin DeBecker, a security consultant, wrote a great book called The Gift of Fear.
Yes, great book.
The Gift of Fear, and it tells you, you know, it tends to tell you, he says, whether you're genuinely in danger or not. Now, meantime, this guy, Macklemore, this rapper, made some headlines at the awards the other night by saying the following. They were held in Florida, and so he took the opportunity to speak to Trayvon Martin during the American Music Awards. Listen here.
Due to the fact that we are in Florida tonight accepting this award, I want to acknowledge Trayvon Martin and the hundreds and hundreds of kids each year that are dying due to racial profiling and the violence that follows it. This is really happening. These are our friends, our neighbors, our peers, and our fans, and it's time that we look out for the youth and fight against racism and the laws that protect it.
Thoughts on that?
They're living in another world, those two guys. How come they didn't say anything about these attacks, the knockout attacks that are going on? You know, I mean, Zimmerman was found not guilty in that case. All right, it's over. All right, apparently it's not over to them. All right, there's nothing we can say to make them change their minds.
This is a tough issue, and it's not one that we're anywhere near done with. Detective, thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
All the best to you, sir. Well, we are learning more about how the administration left our